The Trump administration says it's deploying hundreds more of federal agents to Minneapolis following last week's deadly shooting by an ICE agent. Now, that is in addition to the more than 2,000 agents that are already in the city. Thousands of protesters have been flooding the streets in major U.S. cities, calling for accountability, but federal officials say the protests will not slow immigration enforcement. Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar says the surge in agents is only making things worse.
What they are doing is creating confusion, chaos, trying to intimidate people from being able to exercise their regular, normal activities that they would. There is no justification in any of the things that they say. The 87 people that you've described as being investigated, many of them adjudicated, all happened under the Biden administration. There is no justification for this search. We know that ICE has the ability to conduct raids. There is no reason to have over 2,000 people coming in to our city and creating the level of terror that they have created. They haven't been able to charge anyone as of yet.
White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson issued a statement reading in part, "It's not surprising that Ilhan Omar is more concerned about Somali fraudsters being held accountable for their crimes than she is about the fraud taking place. And anyone who's committed crimes will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law." CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga is joining us now live on the ground in Minneapolis. Nicole, there are already a record number of agents in this city, your city that you are reporting from. Why is the Trump administration deciding to scale up?
Yeah, Vlad, there are so many federal agents on the ground that there are more than twice the number of federal agents as police officers in the Twin Cities area. The number of DHS federal agents here on the ground, close to 2,500 federal agents, is also triple the number of members of the Minneapolis Police Department. Speaking of U.S. Representative from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, she tried to gain access to the ICE facility in St. Paul, where protesters have been converging to make their voices heard. She was shut out by the Department of Homeland Security. We were there yesterday and watched as members of the U.S. Border Patrol deployed pepper gas, pepper spray, and tear gas on protesters. It was there that we caught up with the man who is overseeing it all, Commander Gregory Bovino, and pushed him on why it appears as though law enforcement officials here, federal law enforcement officials, have not made any strides to de-escalate the situation. Take a listen. What do you say to Americans, including police chiefs, that say if there is no de-escalation in sight, it's not a matter of if, but when this happens again?
Well, we've already said that, Nicole. The de-escalation, and a lot of those police chiefs that you mentioned don't seem to de-escalate. They seem to escalate.
Are you de-escalating?
Absolutely. Every day we de-escalate.
We watched as you confronted protesters right there. It didn't look like de-escalation, but are you trying to send a message?
The agitators and the rioters here in Minneapolis need to understand that our operations will continue unabated despite the violence they perpetrate against law enforcement.
And I also asked Commander Bovino about the FBI's investigation into what exactly happened in the leading up to the moments of the fatal shooting of Renee Good. He said he was assured that this would be a fair and impartial investigation, but local and state officials here are voicing their concerns that they have been sidelined by the FBI. CBS News has learned that the Civil Rights Division within the Department of Justice will not participate in this investigation. And just this morning, Vlad, we have watched as the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension sent roughly a dozen of its agents to this block. They were canvassing door to door, speaking with folks, looking for witnesses. We know that state officials have launched their own probe here. So not only are we seeing dueling narratives, we're also now seeing dueling investigations. Vlad?
Nicole, before you go, I just want you mentioned to Bovino that you witnessed a moment where it did not look to your eyes that there was a de-escalation happening. Can you describe that moment for our viewers? What did you see that gave you the sense that although Bovino is saying that his agents and he himself are trying to de-escalate the situation, what you're seeing and what others on the ground are seeing and what the police in Minneapolis are saying is not actually happening?
Yeah, well, Vlad, I mean, to peel back the curtain for you, we were awaiting an opportunity to interview the Commander Gregory Bovino there. And when we said that we were ready, we watched as he and several dozen CBP officials walked across the street outside of the federal ICE facility, walked directly in front of the demonstrators that were there, began telling them to move back, antagonizing them, getting up into their faces. It was at that time that protesters, of course, responded, some of them quite aggressively, we should note. But it was at that point in time that we watched as Border Patrol deployed tear gas straight into the faces in close contact of protesters, shot pepper balls into the ground, and also threw out several canisters of tear gas. Vlad?
All right, Nicole Sganga reporting on the ground for us. Nicole, thank you very much.